studios. This is After 9 with Scott and Kat.
Hey now!
Yo, friends.
How are you?
Great, thank you. The countdown's really here.
Halfway to the long weekend, everybody. Canada Day just around the corner. This is one of those weird long weekends that doesn't align with the American one because they have the 4th of July. And the 4th of July is on a Thursday this year. So do they get a 4-day weekend?
Either way, not a lot of shit is getting done next week.
No.
Like in both countries.
Right.
We're just like, fuck it.
This is a good time to announce that we will be on vacation next week, everybody. So enjoy this week of After 9, and we will have new episodes for you when we get back the following week. That is my birthday week.
Yeah. Do you have any plans for your birthday this year, Scott?
That's up to the girlfriend. I don't know. I said I would like to
okay.
play a nice early, like 6, 7 a.m. round of golf. And
so
then,
she's probably going to book that for you, you thinking?
Oh, no, I'll book that. Anything that happens after that is totally up to her.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, she's the one who's got to clean and probably entertain people and cook and all that sort of stuff.
Oh.
So, yeah, I mean.
So your expectation is there, though, for something.
No, I mean, my birthday becomes an inconvenience for other people, especially when you're the partner, right? Like, when it's your husband's birthday, you've probably got to run around. You got to clean the house. You got to probably make some food. If people are coming over, pick up some drinks.
Yeah.
It turns into a real chore for the other partner, and I don't want her to do that. So if she wants to, fine. If she doesn't want to, I don't care. It's just another birthday. Ugh.
Yeah, it's not a
tired of these
milestone.
things.
As I said about my birthday this year, I'm like, it's not a milestone, so I really don't care. Like, mind you, I had a lovely birthday. It was really good. But I was like, meh, it's fine.
Scary situation yesterday when a bunch of construction workers or window cleaners or something were left in a very precarious spot, Kat. It was at the St. Regis Hotel in downtown Toronto. 2 workers were on a swinging stage kind of thing. You know how they'll lay down like 2 planks of wood and they stand on it to clean the windows?
It looks terrifying. Like, absolutely terrifying.
86 floors up, and these guys are standing.
No.
I accidentally turned my own microphone off. Okay, here we go. The fire officials had to go in and rescue a couple of workers when the stage, as they call it, became loose because the ropes broke. They had to rescue the workers just outside the 56th floor. Get the hell out of here. You're 56 floors up and dangling. There's only 4 ropes that hold that.
Ropes just break like that?
Yeah. What's going on with the rope?
What happened there?
I don't know.
Someone didn't check something, because I'm pretty sure if you work in a climate like that, in a situation like that, that needs to be, that's safety, like the safety inspection on that shit better be insane.
A rescue team was able to secure the stage and save the workers. They say there were no serious injuries. Well, they probably had to replace their pants and underwear. I'm going to suggest that because that is messed up. Holy cow. You're dangling 56 stories above Toronto. The rope breaks? Get the hell out of here.
I think that what we need to do is take a look at what's happening here. Do we need the windows to be cleaned that badly that people could die? A very awful death, by the way.
56 floors of thinking about it right before it happens. Yep.
Kaboom. Where are we at with at self-cleaning windows? Like, is there any form of innovation in that area?
Are you getting bombarded with ads on your Instagram right now for a giant bottle of Windex that goes around and squirts everything and then it just shows up clean?
I think I have seen something like this. That's not the one you attach to the hose, is it?
No.
I've seen that.
This is like a giant, like cartoon-ish bottle of Windex.
And it sprays.
Yeah.
It sprays so if second floor windows, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I think the example I saw this morning, because it's going into various scenarios to clean, was, those big slides that you go down on a burlap sack on? Those big bastards? Yeah, it was cleaning one of those in just one spray.
Oh.
Gotta love it. It's hey, good ad, got my attention. I don't know if we have anything like that, but let's be honest. It's 2024. We're putting people on the dark side of the moon now, and we still haven't figured out how to clean windows that are above the height of a person without somebody falling off of the roof. Come on.
I don't know. If you do a job like that, good for you. I don't even want to get up on a ladder to clean mine. I'll hire people to do it.
Yeah. I've got a regular run-of-the-mill average size house, 2 floors.
I'm not getting up there.
I'm not going to the second floor. Fuck that.
Fuck that.
Not happening. Yesterday, StatsCan released the May inflation numbers. We're always interested in these because inflation helps the Bank of Canada determine whether or not they're going to raise, keep, or lower interest rates. A lot of people figured it would go from 2.7 in April to 2.6 in May. Instead, it went from 2.7 in April to 2.9 in May. They say the cost of rent, gas, cell phones, travel, including flights, and groceries were the main culprits. So all the things that everybody needs and uses.
Yeah.
Rent.
That's everything.
We've all got to have somewhere to live. You know, at some point, the Bank of Canada, that son of a bitch, Tiff Macklem, has got to acknowledge that all these interest rate hikes are contributing to this inflation number. I mean, they say it comes in at 2.9. How much of that is housing costs? What would inflation be if they lowered interest rates back down to a more reasonable number? Maybe it would come in around 2. But they don't want to do that because they like their high interest rates because, well, it's just pure extra profit for the bank that they weren't expecting. So I'm not entirely surprised that rent brought it up. Gas is expensive now. $1.65.9.
Yeah, very expensive.
Cell phones. Okay, I switched. And to this day, I still get messages from people all the time. Hey, Scott, did you hear about this plan? Did you hear about that plan? Here's the update on the cell phone, everybody. I did switch back at Christmas. I switched to Freedom Mobile. I heard a commercial on the radio and those suckers work. So I went into a Freedom Mobile and I said, $35 a month, unlimited everything, and I can use it in the States. And they said, yes. So I signed up. And I haven't had an uninterrupted conversation on the phone with somebody since that fateful day. Nothing against Freedom Mobile. The data is great. All the extras is great. I'm happy with the price point.
It's one of those, like, you get what you pay for things, I think, right? And if you're okay with that, then you just keep on trucking along.
But maybe Freedom should call themselves a data company and not a cell phone company, because you hear cell phone and you think call, and frankly, it's not that great for calling, although it is better in the car than in the house. So I'll give them that.
When they say cell phone, though, do they mean service by it cost going up, or also the phones themselves? I mean, they're getting pricier as well. But
yeah, they certainly
do
are.
more, but they're pricier.
Sure. They said the cost of cell phones. Okay. So I'm going to assume it's service and device included.
All right.
Travel, including flights. Have you tried to book a flight lately?
I did book a flight.
They promised us.
Yeah.
And I hate to sound like a broken record on this, but when all these airlines started getting snapped up by the big airlines, like when WestJet bought Swoop and so on and so forth, I thought the whole point of this was that they were going to maintain the lower price point on the Swoop flights, and the WestJet flights would continue to be overpriced for rich people. It doesn't seem like that's happened, because all the routes that Swoop goes to, it doesn't seem like they're any cheaper than WestJet now.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, as soon as you add stuff on, especially, and most travelers do, then it's like, yeah, I might as well just pay the price for the more expensive guys.
Well, the one that I think's got the most attention when it comes to inflation over the past few years is groceries, because we all see it every time we go to the grocery store. And there's no doubt the prices have gone up. They went down a bit at Christmas. They went back up again in Jan, Feb. They were slowly coming down. For a brief minute there, I saw some old school 2020 pricing on some stuff, and then it went right back up again. As soon as they started talking about that grocery code of conduct again, as soon as Loblaw says they might sign on to it, prices went up. And it's reflected in the inflation number, 1.5% increase year over year, and up from April. So the price of groceries is still going up. What I wanted to know, though, is, well, how much has it gone up total? 1.5% doesn't tell the whole story. That's 1.5% on top of last year's very high inflation. So I got somebody to work it out for me. Since 2020, grocery inflation is 22.5%. In other words, a 22.5% increase on your grocery bill over the last 3.5 years.
And we can all see, all of us have noticed it.
I just, I don't know how people are going to continue to do this for much longer. It's great that wages went up, although I think wages going up is part of the reason that inflation is so high, because people have got payroll costs that they've got to pay. They're business owners and they got to make payroll, so price goes up if that's the case. That's just the way business works, and I'm surprised that the government's not surprised or is surprised at that. But 22.5% on groceries, nobody budgeted for that, especially when your rent or your mortgage payment has gone up, your car payment has gone up, your cell phone, your gas, your rent, travel, all of it's gone up. And that's for people who could afford travel, because I know a lot of people are cutting out those vacations just because it's not in the budget this year again. And I don't know how much longer we can put up with this, but as much as I am in favor of the free market, somebody's got to stand up to these grocery stores and say, show us the proof. Show us. Show us how much you pay for this quart of strawberries that you're selling for $8.
Oh, and that's and it's again with the all over the map stuff. Like now you can get some strawberries, and they're still kind of the Ontario strawberries. God bless them, they're trying, but it's still early in the season, so they're very tiny. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
But I've at least started to see deals in some places, but not in others. So yes, it's $6.99 for a quart here, but it's $2.99 for a quart over there, and they're the exact same thing. I just can't. That kind of shit. I understand what sales are. I get that. But that kind of shit boggles my mind that there's that much of a difference.
Huge. And nothing changed, though, except, I mean, it is costing more for farmers to operate because they've got to pay more for fertilizer and all the different things that farmers need to do what farmers do. It's gone up. And there's carbon taxes on top of that now, so that makes sense. Truckers, the ones that ship it from the farm to wherever it is that a distribution center or the store itself, they're paying carbon tax as well on groceries or on gas. So that contributes to it. But not 22.5%. Like somebody's getting rich here, and they're probably laughing at us that we still tropes in there every couple of days and slap down another $200 for a couple of apples and some chicken. It's so frustrating. Are you still liking Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary?
Did he do or say something I should be aware of?
He did an interview yesterday, and he was talking about the economy in general. It's not particularly flattering, but let's hear a little bit about what Kevin O'Leary has to say.
Most of the accounting firms here have been advising their clients over the last 90 days about all the strategies we're doing to exit Canada, to sell assets here, to pay taxes on them now and move them elsewhere. And so you're starting to see that migration of capital already. And I would argue that that's a policy mistake in terms of the competition between You don't want to be at the bottom of corporate tax rates in the G20, and you don't need to be at the top. You want to be in the middle somewhere. So we're going down into the fourth quartile of competitiveness, which is a horrific mistake from somewhere in the middle. And again, trying to be, I want to be respect Freeland because she is the finance minister, but I don't know why she's the finance minister. She has no experience at this, and she's never even run a bank. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why she's there, and she's totally unqualified. And here she is making policy mistakes left and right, and here's a bad one. And this costs Canada. It's very expensive to make mistakes like this. The damage she's doing now will be felt if it doesn't get repaired immediately for decades. And so bad managers do a lot of damage, and she is a very bad, underqualified manager. And I don't mean any disrespect. I'm just saying, why can't I have a real finance minister? Why can't I have somebody who actually was involved in financial services in this country? Why do I have that? And she works for me. I'm a taxpayer.
Well, speaking...
Okay. No disrespect, but she's totally unqualified and not good for the job. Yeah, I mean, he's obviously not optimistic, and I've wondered about that because we were told that they were going to, and yesterday the increase kicked in for the capital gains, and we were told in advance that this was going to happen. Not a lot of notice, but it was enough notice that the rich people, the people with money, the business owners, the ones who own all the property, the landlords, they had lots of time to sell if they wanted to sell or to shelter their whatever it was, their asset, so that they didn't have to pay this extra capital gains. But normal people who have a vacation property or something like that, they didn't have a chance to sell because, well, you can't just snap your fingers and have something on the market. And I wondered how many business owners, knowing that they were going to increase the capital gains tax, said, okay, let's tie up all the loose ends now and get out of here. And basically what he's saying is a lot. A lot of business owners over the last few months have been figuring out ways to get around having to pay this increased capital gains tax. And while that may benefit the few, the rich and wealthy, that's who this was supposed to target, they're going to get away with it, and the middle class is going to be the ones who have to pay the bill. So for what it's worth, Kevin O'Leary is not a big fan of the finance minister or what's going on here, but I don't know that anyone
He's also rich.
He's also rich.
And has a lot of business partner friends and has a lot of business partners in general.
100%. He, not optimistic, but he also did say, and I think he's right, it's not too late to correct course. If we can just make things a little more affordable or create more of a climate where businesses want to do business, maybe business will set up here. If not, it's going to be pretty bleak for the next little while. Starbucks says they surveyed 18 to 35-year-olds, Kat, and what 18 to 35-year-olds want is non-dairy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They say they're responding to that by introducing something new. All cold, I can never say this word right. All cold foam flavors are now available dairy-free.
Okay.
I've never had a cold foam. What is that?
Never?
No.
It's basically like flavored foam. Is that the best way I could describe it? Like flavored topping.
Would it be like eating Cool Whip, or would it be like eating like bubbles?
Like foam. Like, have you ever had a latte?
I've had a latte.
Okay, so it's kind of like the cold version of what's on top of that.
Oh, but they just flavored
Frothed,
the foam?
cold. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they come up with a different name for it, but that's basically what it is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's available now in non-dairy. They also introduced a few new products, and the legion of Starbucks fans out there, it always amazes me. You can get new food options, unless you haven't already. 3 cheese and egg sandwich is brand new.
Okay.
There's a ham and Swiss croissant and an orange cream cake pop.
Oh, orange cream. Interesting.
That's that last minute add-on. You got a couple extra bucks in your pocket or whatever. You want to round it up closer to $10. Yeah, throw in a cake pop for me too. Those things are fucking dangerous. They should have a warning label on those.
It's basically straight up dough in the middle of them. Like my kids love that. So anytime I go to Starbucks, it's like, okay, the deal is I have to buy them a cake pop basically. But the inside it's not even cooked.
For God's sake,
Yeah,
really?
it's like, yeah. I mean, not to say it's bad. People love it, but it's just, it's different. It's different. Is that the nicest way to put it?
Different's an appetizing word, isn't it?
It's different.
So you've been in a car accident and you got hurt. Or you went to work and got hurt. You went over to a friend's house. You got hurt. What do? You call a good lawyer. Diamond & Diamond Lawyers is the personal injury specialist nationwide. In fact, not just this nation, also expanding into America. It's really impressive to see that success story.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, they've expanded so much through the years, and you're right. So many locations across Canada. So not sure if everyone knows this, but there's a location that's probably closer to you than you think. You don't necessarily have to go there in person. You can call their toll-free line anytime, 24/7. It's 1-800-567-HURT. Speak with people who can help you out and let you know whether they believe you have a claim or not. And they're here to help you every step of the way. And sometimes there's a lot of emotions that go along with this. Maybe you're holding back from looking into it because you're not sure what could come of it, but they're there to guide you through. They've seen it all and they can help you out, whether it's slips, falls, brain injuries, dog bites, car accidents, and more. Give them a call, Diamond & Diamond. They're a great team.
Want to do a reminder that tomorrow, Sandra Ziskin from Diamond & Diamond Lawyers is going to be on with us. That's a popular segment anytime we have Sandra on. If you have a question for her, you can text it to 1-833-915-SHOW. That's 1-833-915-7469. Or you can slide into our DMs like so many people do every single day. Kat, let's do some things from our local area. There's some stories that are standing out to me. Are you ready?
Ready.
First off, Premier Ford in Hamilton yesterday for a summit on the economy. And he was asked, hey, what's going on with the Hamilton LRT? Hamilton, let me tell you something. Coming to you from Kitchener, where we have an LRT, it breaks down a lot. And
people hit it.
People crash into the fucking thing.
People crash into it all the time.
All the time. And you might think, but it's a train and it's on tracks and cars are on the road.
Yeah, you'd
Still,
be right. Yeah.
It is mystifying how many cars crash into this goddamn train. It happens all the time. It's constantly out of service because cars have crashed into it or it's hit something else.
And the money it costs to repair those cars.
Oh my God, it's astronomical.
Yeah.
But back in 2015, that's right, almost 10 years ago, Hamilton approved an LRT, and that's great. Hamilton is more than capable of supporting this. It needs it. It's a huge city, and if it were anywhere else, except for within close proximity to Toronto, this would have been done a long time ago. Ottawa's got one, for example, although that one doesn't work very well either. So the premier said, don't worry, folks. Folks, we're going to get it built. All right, I mean, I trust him, but the bill on this thing has gone from $1 billion to $3.4 billion.
How?
And we still don't even have the fucking thing.
Why?
I don't know.
Just inflation? Like, what are they? Why?
This is what I would like to see happen when it comes to government contracts for these sort of things. And whether it's roads or building an LRT or building a new school or whatever. The government comes to the taxpayers and says, hey, folks, we want to build an LRT in the great city of Hamilton. It's going to cost $1 billion. Okay, maybe people support that, maybe they don't. When we inevitably find out that the contractors are going to jack up the price because they got themselves a nice, plum, beautiful government contract, and you find out it's going to be $3.4 billion, I think you should have to come back to the taxpayers and say, hey, listen, sorry, we thought it was $1 billion. Now they're telling us $3.5 billion, because the answer might be different. Maybe taxpayers don't want to pay $3.5 billion, and that's just the so far. By the time it's done, it'll probably have been $6, $7, or $8 billion to build one train that goes 20 kilometers. So I think that we're doing it wrong. I also don't think contractors should be allowed to do that. When we hire a company to go and do road maintenance on the QEW, hey guys, we want you to repave the lanes between the Skyway and, I don't know, Centennial Parkway. Okay, great. If you tell us you can get it done in 3 months and it's going to cost $1 million, God help you if it costs $1,001 or it takes 3 months and 1 day. In fact, I think that it negates your contract altogether. If you can't deliver on time and on budget, fuck off. We don't need you. And I'm speaking now officially, because I've been given the authority to speak on behalf of every taxpayer, that we are sick of getting fleeced by these people that say, yeah, we'll do it for this price and it'll be done by this date. And it's not done by that date, and it's way more than they cost. And as an example, I present to you the Eglinton Crosstown LRT, which is still not even close to ready.
So, and you know what the interesting part about those projects are? Any of those projects that you mentioned is that there's bidders on the other side of it, right? I think, I don't know if people realize that, but just so you know, these companies bid for these projects. You know, whether you're in any form of civic engineering, from, you know, sewer system to whatever, you bid on projects and the city takes them on. Those are just the ones that they thought were reasonable. Or maybe you have a good track record. So if those are the best ones, God help the rest of them.
Yeah, exactly. It's so asinine that, for example, the Gardner Expressway in Toronto, down to 1 lane in either direction, and it's going to be like that until 2028. First off, there should be people working on that 24/7. 24/7. And I don't care about the people that have condos right next to the highway, because those people bought a condo right next to a highway, and highways require construction. That should be finished in 1/3 of the time. And it could be if they work 24/7. Another thing is, we know it's going to go way over budget. If they told us it'll cost $10 million to do this work, it's probably going to cost $30. Again, that shouldn't be allowed. If you're a contractor and you say you can do it for this price, you've got to do it for that price. If you say you can deliver by a certain date, you better deliver by that date, or you don't get paid. Do you know how many people in the private sector work under that rule?
Yeah.
On budget, on time, or piss off.
Yeah.
And you know, we should be doing that here too, because it's just throwing away our money, our tax dollars that we all work hard for. And we see those deductions come off our check, and then we seem to get screwed at every turn. I think the whole thing needs to be turned around, and they need to re-examine how we do things. And first contractor who doesn't deliver on time, stiff them. No money. Maybe next time you'll get it done on time. Maybe pay them pennies on the dollar. If you're not done by a certain date, maybe it's $1 million fine, and then $100,000 a day until it's done. Those are good common sense policies that respect taxpayers. So Hamilton's no closer, I don't think, to getting an LRT. But if I'm wrong and they do have a plan to actually get it on the rails by 2028, I'd love to hear about it. Let's go to Kitchener for a second here. Police have arrested 3 men from Toronto. 2 of them are teenagers after an attempted break-in at Fairview Park Mall.
This is a stupid story.
Monday at 8:15. You get 3 kids. You had 2 kids and an adult. They walk into the mall with fucking duffel bags and masks on. It was pretty obvious what was going on because it's not Halloween.
If you know how a mall works, right? Did they forget how a mall works? You have to go in through the mall entrance, and then you get to the store eventually that you were planning to rob. But they decided to just waltz right into the mall and pass like fucking Blue Notes in the bank and shit like that.
Yeah. So people are watching these fucking guys come into the mall dressed like they're ready to rob the place, and they started phoning 911. So the cops raced there. While the cops were on their way, these dipshits were wandering around the mall trying to find a jewelry store that was open. Both jewelry stores that they went to were closed. I guess the mall's open till 10, but the jewelry stores close at 8. Maybe that's a safety feature, or maybe they don't see a lot of jewelry selling between 8 and 10 p.m.
For good reason if it's a safety feature.
But these guys, jewelry store number 1, closed. All right, fine. Let's try the next one. Jewelry store number 2, closed. All right, well, I guess we're going to have to give up. So they started just sauntering out of the mall like nothing was going on, wearing masks and carrying duffel bags. So the cops were there at that point. They saw these guys coming out. 2 of them arrested them right there on the spot. And sure enough, in those duffel bags were hammers so they could smash the display cases and fill the bags full of jewelry, watches, and stuff like that. One guy ran. He thought, I can get away from the cops, and he took off. You will never outrun the K-9 unit. It's never, ever, ever going to happen. So this guy's running, and the cops, I mean, work smarter, not harder. If you've got a dog, let the dog go chase the fucking guy. Why would you do that? So that's what they did. They let the dog go. And the dog did what the K-9 unit does.
By the way, they must have had, sorry about that, there's breaking shit in here. So they must have had, fucking unbelievable.
We do get a new podcast studio in a few months, though.
Yeah, we do.
So nothing new in this studio till our new one is built in a few months.
So I was wondering, though, about how much proof and evidence that they had just because there's a hammer in the duffel bag. Do you think any of them will try to argue that they weren't there for that reason and that they were there for some other reason? And not that they were, but I'm just saying, like, could you try to argue your way out of that?
Well, see, I'm not even sure that matters. And here's why. I just read this morning, great article on globalnews.ca if you want to read it. In Toronto, you know, the carjacking task force, they've arrested 124 people so far. That's a lot of people. Mm-hmm. More than half of them are on bail. More than half of the carjackers they've arrested are currently on bail. It's crazy. So given that you can be just a total degenerate piece of shit
you can.
And still get bail, I don't know that these guys are too concerned because whether they were or weren't going to commit a robbery, we found all the break-in tools there. That's a crime in itself. I have to think no matter what, they're going to find a judge that'll let them out. I don't think they're too worried about it.
Yeah, I don't think anything's going to come of that.
Still frustrating, though. What else do I got here for Kitchener? I'm going to do one more for Kitchener. Guelph, I'll do Guelph. Guelph police investigating after a man was dragged trying to stop someone from stealing his car.
Would you interfere?
Yeah.
Someone trying to...
Oh,
you would?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. No. Maybe.
I know. I'm trying to think. It depends on this. It's very situational, I guess, because it depends. Where are you? Are you with someone? Are you not? Do you have something that you can use to deter that person from stealing it? So all those things aside, like some people would for sure be like, yup, standing up, doing it. I don't know. I might at that point just be like, take it. Unless my kid's in the car, then I'll fucking kill you. Like, I will fucking kill you. Don't you fucking take that car.
And none of us should have to think twice about it. If somebody's trying to carjack you, you should be able to break their neck. You should be able to do that.
Yeah, you should.
But you'll get charged.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
It's completely crazy. I mean, the priorities, and they won't hesitate to arrest you either. If somebody's trying to carjack you and you end up just beating the holy hell out of them, you're going to get charged for assault. And the cops will be more interested in getting you in handcuffs than the asshole that you beat up.
It's so twisted. It's so backwards.
It's insane. Let's do 2 things that involve the center of the universe, Toronto, Ontario. Number 1, the saga over the Ontario Dam Science Centre continues. Have you heard the latest?
Oh, God. What now?
The firm of architects who designed the Ontario Science Centre way back in the late 60s, early 70s, says closing the Science Centre building is not necessary. The province, as you may recall, abruptly announced last Friday that the centre was being permanently closed after an engineering report about the poor state of the roof. The infrastructure minister, Kinga Surman, says the engineers told the government the roof should be replaced in its entirety. That'll take 2 to 5 years to get done. Well, this Toronto-based firm of architects says the decision to close the centre was a shock, and they're offering their services free of charge to the provincial government for roof repairs. It's a pile-on thing right now. There's basically anybody who does not like the PCs or doesn't like Doug Ford is going to pile on with stupid offers like this.
But none of those fucking people were there. None of them fucking came up with the design in the 60s.
No.
There's no fucking way any of those people had anything to do with it, actually. Just the name is associated with it in the fucking 60s. Get out of here.
I'd also like to point out that there are many, many, many homes in Ontario and in Canada that are much, much older than the Science Centre. They haven't had a problem with their roof caving in.
Right.
So I don't know why we would hire this fucking firm of yahoos that built something that was apparently only good for 40 to 50 years before the roof needs to be replaced completely. I don't know why we would go back to these people anyway. I'm also noting here they're offering their services free of charge to the provincial government for roof repairs. Does that mean you guys are going to pay for the roof instead of the taxpayers? Or does that mean you're going to do the design of the roof? Because it seems to me you kind of fucked up the last one. I don't know why we would hire you for this one if we're having a conversation about the roof caving in.
In fact,
maybe you're not very good architects.
In fact, I would think the opposite would happen, where those people would go away as quietly as possible, be like, "Oh fuck, I hope our name doesn't get mentioned in any of these news reports."
Well, seriously, they're trying to get free publicity or trying to take a drive-by on the premier or something. But
stupid.
Why would we hire you to do this? It's a completely ridiculous thing. You're not paying to replace. If you guys want to say to the taxpayers, it's going to cost $5 million to redo the roof, we'll pay the $5 million. Okay,
But they're not.
they're not going to do that.
And you guys
They're
were,
offering to
like,
design the new roof, and that's a joke.
That was, what, 60 years ago? That was 60 years ago. Get the fuck out of here. None of you were even involved. So shut the fuck up and stop pretending that you actually were. And I would not even say a word if I were you, because you look dumb.
They do look dumb. I don't understand why people are protesting so hard to hang onto a building where the actual roof may cave in.
Just
They
leave
say
it
a
alone.
good snowfall and everything in it is just going to get pummeled. We have to move.
Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go.
Let it go.
Is a great way to put it. Let it go. You know what? If you consider these things wins and losses, you lost. Doug got his way. It's moving to to Ontario Place. I think that's the best place for it anyway. But irregardless of what I think, it is moving. You got to get over it. Find a new project to move on to, because it just looks desperate and kind of sad.
It's right up there for me with the historic groups, and every fucking town has one, or at least region or whatever has those historic groups that are like, no, this is a monument. It should be declared a special. Shut the fuck up, man. It's falling apart. Nobody cares about it. We can make other things that matter because no one has stepped foot in it.
When the Science Center is actually down at Ontario Place, the amount of people that are going to go to the Science Center for the first time ever, or the first time in years, is going to be stunning. It is going to be a fantastic attraction that makes money. And it sucks that they got to close it now instead of closing it when the new building is ready.
Sure.
But again, the roof is falling down, everyone. The roof is falling. You don't want to be in there. It's very, very dangerous. We're not going to keep it open just to placate a few people.
Fucking kids go in there, losers. Like, come on.
Now, this does mean that the staff at the Science Center is being laid off, and that is
That part sucks. I heard that some are being kind of redirected to other spots. Is that not true?
yeah, they are going to direct some to other spots.
Okay.
Frankly, I don't know why we would need to lay them off. It seems to me, as I scan through the Jobs Ontario website, there's a lot of government positions that are hiring right now, and I would think that there's a place for all these people.
Even for temporary work, maybe? Can we figure that out?
Temporary work, or even not, or even without that.
Yeah.
How much money during COVID did we pay government workers to do absolutely nothing?
Yeah.
How many librarians sat at home for years
It's true.
getting paid to not be in a library sorting books and ordering new ones? It's crazy how much the government wastes. I actually don't have a problem with making sure these employees here are made whole. And if we can find a role for them somewhere, great. If not, figure it out. But we can't have people walking around in a building where the roof is caving in. When we have a new state-of-the-art facility right on the waterfront, lots of parking, and surrounded by other attractions, and other science centers are coming here to figure out, how'd you guys do that? How'd you build it into a sphere? We're going to be the talk of Canada.
I think so too.
And people don't want to admit it now because they don't want to give a win to the province. And that's just political bullshit.
I do remember where I heard that from. It was legit. So some of the workers are being, at least for the summertime, they're putting programs into high school gyms.
Good.
For the summer, in and around Toronto. So those workers will have that job, and it's kind of going to be more like a summer, I don't know if it's like a summer camp or it's just like anyone's welcome. But anyway, that's good. We should do more of that.
Maybe now then we're saving a little bit of money. If the Science Center comes to you, you don't have to go to the parents and say everybody's got to kick $30 in for a bus for us to travel from fucking London to the Science Center on the other side of Toronto, and so on and so forth. The other issue in Toronto is they're having another vote today. Toronto City Council is going to vote again on renaming Dundas Square. This one is interesting because in the last 48 hours, a number of Toronto councillors, apparently the ones that are able to read the room, are coming out now and saying, I'm going to change my vote. I don't want to rename it Sankofa Square. We're going to leave it at Dundas Square. Now, I don't know if there's enough votes to overturn this decision, but that's something that affects a lot of different people. It's going to cost millions to rename Dundas Street and Dundas Square. And if they can make some progress here, if City Council is willing to turn over a new leaf and say, we got it wrong, we did not consult with the public like we should have done, we didn't have a proper procedure to come up with the new name, we basically rammed this through because it's what we wanted to do. Now, a sober second thought. So we'll see what they do. I hope they make the right decision and leave well enough alone, but protesters go and protest, I suppose. Last one. Julian Assange. His 14-year legal battle is now over. He has entered a guilty plea as part of a plea agreement with the U.S. Justice Department that is going to see him sentenced to time served. In other words, the time he spent in jail in the UK and traveling all around the world to avoid extradition to America, good enough. We're even. He's going to go live in Australia, and I assume now he's a free man. But I would like to know more about this plea agreement. This guy still knows stuff. WikiLeaks wasn't done leaking stuff when he had to go into hiding. So what I'm wondering is there any part of this agreement that means he can't continue to spill the tea on what's going on with the government?
Oh, I'd like to know that.
Yeah, I would too. By the way, does your car have a name?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I picked it. Let me give you the reasoning before I tell you what the name is. When I picked up my car, it was March 13th. And you know, when you're picking up your car, there's paperwork to sign, right? When you're about to drive it off the lot, which basically instantly makes it less of an investment than you put into it. You know what I mean? Within that moment. So anyway, so I'm signing. But
you signed. It's worth less.
It's worth less when you drive it off the lot, right?
It's now a used vehicle, even though it's never been driven.
Congratulations. So as I signed and dated it, the date was March 13th, but I put MAR13. And then I thought, that looks like Marie. Also happens to be my grandmother's name. And I thought, what a perfect name for this car. So I call her Marie.
That is a great name. It's amazing how many people have named their car. I've never done it. I still think of a car as just sort of a means to an end. I don't find them fun. I don't find them particularly. They're certainly not people or pets. So I don't think I would ever give a car a name. But it's amazing how many people have. 50% have given their car a name. Hey, Octavia, that sport wagon that you've got out there in the parking lot, does that have a name?
No, I didn't name my car.
Atta girl. Have you thought about it? Would you?
Would you let Scott name your car?
If he wanted to, but I probably wouldn't refer to it as
You'd
the name.
never say it?
So you'd let me name it, but you wouldn't use it?
No, probably not.
All right. 49% have given their car a name, and how people name it is actually the interesting part here. 37% base it on the car's personality.
Okay. Okay, so I understand that. I know it's not a person, but I guess I understand the personality portion, because there's cars you look at and you're like, that looks like a fast, sporty car. Or, that looks like just something to get you from A to B. Oh, that one looks like a clunker. That one looks like a good family vehicle. You know, like there's a lot of different types of vehicles. So I can understand certain names go better with the types.
How would my car fit into that?
Oh.
Not really a family vehicle. It's not particularly fast or fun or flashy.
Would you call it reliable? Not really? Okay, I'm just trying to think of cute nicknames based off of what you... Yeah, how would you describe the car? Just describe your car in any words that you can come up with.
Basic.
Basic Betty.
Affordable. Cheap.
Okay.
High kilometers. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what I've seen on Auto Trader.
You could call it basic. Is it a boy, though? I think your car's more of a boy than a girl.
You think so? Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's...
Basic Bob.
Basic
I think Bobby.
Basic
I
Bobby.
think you're driving a Bobby.
Maybe I'm in a Robert right now. Personality. 37% believe their car has a personality, and they base the name on that. 29% based it on the make and model. As in, I drive a Kia Forte, so I'm going to name it Will Forte.
It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny.
Ish.
Sure.
And how it performs. 1 in 5 say they gave their car a name like Zippy because it's fast.
By the way, that's fucking lame.
Or Franklin because it's slow.
Right.
Yeah,
Zippy. Oh, I was just driving Zippy. I want to... Don't people want to punch you in the face when you say that?
But there are people out there who have a deep emotional attachment to their car.
There's people who are like way into their car.
There are some people who will use the L word to describe their car. I love my car. And when they say that, they mean they love their car.
Nobody else can touch it. Nobody else can like sit in it. You know what I mean? Without a former approval, you know?
Take off your
don't
shoes
touch
before
it.
you get in.
Yep.
That sort of shit.
Don't even look at it the wrong way.
Well, this same poll found that the top ways that we show our car some love are number 1, regular maintenance. Get those oil changes done.
No, you should do that no matter what you drive.
Car washes.
Okay?
Washing it regularly. I haven't gone through a car wash yet with my car, and I've had it for 2 years.
Really?
You know, there's always a good rain around the corner, Kat, and I feel like that is sufficient. I don't need to spend $14 on the basic wash just to do what the rain's going to do anyway.
Even when doesn't really like the look when it's all shined up? No, don't care.
It doesn't really matter
Doesn't
to
matter.
me.
Got
Not for Bob.
No,
Bob's
fair.
not a flashy guy.
Fair enough.
And there's no shortage of people here who also, in addition to regular maintenance and getting it washed, take it out for a leisurely drive to show it some love. In other words, there's some people who are basically claiming that they'll take their car out for the car's sake.
I don't think that's
like
true.
walking the dog because the dog wants to go for a walk. But your car doesn't necessarily want to go for a drive.
No.
You're just overcompensating.
You're doing that for yourself because you want attention. That's probably like you can already picture the car and the person who says that.
You
know what I mean?
Can. I've got a good little image in my head of exactly what that person looks like right now.
We probably have the same image in our mind.
I think that's it, everybody. We are done for today. We will be back tomorrow with another edition of After 9. The radio shows are going to be on tomorrow morning and afternoon. If you wake up with us tomorrow on Energy 95.3 or 91.5 The Beat, it is Throwback Thursday. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, friends.